Happy Friday, everyone. It's that Sunday School Girl of thatsundayschoolgirl.com. Welcome to the lesson for this Sunday, September 18th. I hope that you had a fantastic week. It was another busy one for me. School most certainly keeps me busy, and I may have snuck out once or twice to a convention that we were having, and yeah, when I get done recording now, I already have my white on so I can run out the door and get there for the last night. So that means that this weekend I will have some reconciling time with my books, but I'm prepared to do that. And I know that you have something far more exciting planned than that. And I know it's with your family having a great time, but I certainly hope that you will ensure that that includes Sunday school for your entire family. What a blessing to take your family to Sunday school. If you are new around here, welcome. You have just joined the largest cyber community of Sunday school students on the World Wide Web. I am so thrilled that you are here, and I pray that it will be a blessing, that you'll like it, that you'll tell someone about it, and that we will continue to grow together. We do these videos each week for 3 reasons. Number 1, to encourage you to make Sunday school part of your regular weekend routine. Secondly, when you go, you're not in there in the back of the room, acting shy, hiding behind your neighbor, but you're excited and energized to get involved in the lesson because we've already studied together. 15 minutes with me is just enough to be dangerous, so it's enough to participate, and I know that you will amplify it with your own personal study and augment that. Lastly, when we leave, all of us are able to activate God's word in our everyday lives, which is where the rubber truly meets the road, and that's where the difference is made. So I am thrilled that you're here. If you have not already done so, please hit the subscribe button. I was overjoyed last week. I used to sort of really watch the numbers, and I had certain numbers in my head, and I took my eyes off the numbers, and this past week I saw 2 things. Number 1, the community is now more than 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that's pretty huge for Sunday school, right? And I was also overwhelmed that the videos are now consistently seen by more than 2,000 people, unique viewings each week, and I've been advised that there are many classes that are using the videos, and there are all sorts of ministries using it in nursing homes. So thank you so much. I am thrilled that you are here, and I'm excited to grow together. So again, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the great information that comes out on the channel. By way of special information, I want you to know that if you have been following along with us in the journaling community as we Bible journaled together in the monthly journals, we have made a decision to suspend those as of this time. That was sort of a 6-month test to see how we would do. And at this time, I think it may be best to suspend, and we may look at picking that project back up at some future date. But I don't want you to think that there will not continue to be great resources on the website, so please bookmark thatsundayschoolgirl.com. If you don't already have your Straight Out of Sunday School t-shirt, I just picked up a new shipment on today. Actually, it arrived today, so I picked it up from the office on my way in, and I've got a nice assortment of sizes, so if you want it, it's a great time to jump in because they always sell out very quickly. I think that's it for me. Why don't we hop into the lesson for this week? Our publishers this week have chosen the lesson title, Foundations of the Earth. The Bible basis is Isaiah chapter 40, verses 21 through 31. The Bible truth. Isaiah declares that God is the absolute power in whom we should depend. The memory verse is verse 28, and the lesson aim is that we will distinguish God's power to control and affect change with human ability to do the same. Reflect on the poetic imagery the writer uses to witness God's sovereign power and personal presence with the people, and embrace God's sovereignty and ability to address people's situations and needs. We are in week 3 of the book of Isaiah, and we know that Isaiah was a major prophet, not because his message was any more major than anyone else's, but because he prophesied over a long period of time. For more than 50 years, he was giving the message of God to the children of Israel. Now let's talk a little bit about the structure of the book of Isaiah because it's going to help us just a bit as we transition into this week's printed text. Now Isaiah is said to be written much like the Bible itself. So the first 39 chapters of Isaiah are much like the first 39 books of the Bible, which we know to be the Old Testament. In the first 39 chapters, he is always pushing a message, encouraging people to return to God or face his judgment. So there are strong tones of judgment and warning. There are three things that we see. There's condemnation, there's confiscation. Secondly, we see confiscation. The northern kingdom had already been taken captive in 702 BC by the Assyrians. And the southern kingdom would not be taken captive until 80 years later, which was closer to 607 BC. And it's interesting because a lot of people thought that God was not going to do what he said because it took him that 80 years. But just as he said, the southern kingdom was taken captive and they were held there for 70 years. The last thing we see, though, is a shift in Isaiah, which is where we pick up today. So we've seen condemnation, confiscation, and now consolation. Isaiah chapter 40 is indeed a shift. And for the remaining 27 chapters of the book of Isaiah, it will be very similar to the New Testament, where there is encouragement that someone greater is coming. He would be a Messiah. And he speaks of the comfort and the blessings that will come with this Messiah. Though the children of Israel had been through great difficulty, there were absolutely better days coming. And so the balance of Isaiah is a message of hope. Now, exile, being away, separated from each other, separated from their homeland, had left the people wondering to themselves, even if they didn't say it aloud, what happened to God? He made promises to us. What happened to our covenant promises? And at their core, they were very silent because they were uncertain about their future because they were in the hands of foreign people. But Isaiah chapter 40, if you'll go back up to verse 1, and you know what, just take a read through it. I know we started verse 21 for printed text, but even look at verse 1 where he starts with the words, comfort ye, my people. In other words, you know what it is to bring comfort to someone, to make them feel better. You know what a comforter is on your bed. You like to cuddle up under it. So this is a word to sort of cuddle up under. He wanted to bring assurance, and I loved it because he says that they are my people. Isaiah had been giving warning to people, but here is God saying, now take comfort. And again, he still calls them my people, even though they had not listened to him, they had not obeyed him, they had not walked in the ways that he had required, but yet and still, despite their disobedience, their mistakes, choosing to go against his way, he still loved them. And isn't that the way that God is with us? Despite the fact that we don't always make the best decisions, we don't always get things right, we are not always obedient, and we most certainly have made mistakes, yet God is still with us, and he calls us his people. Now, I love watching HGTV, and so verse 21 sort of reminded me of that. On many of the shows, you'll have homeowners who are investing money to make improvements, and they'll bring in a design team that will come in and they will put in new flooring and put in new kitchen cabinetry and put in new furniture and decorate. And when that couple comes back in and looks at the home for the first time, that's known as the grand reveal. And they stand and they look all over the house, and they're in such awe with what they see. That's somewhat the picture that Isaiah paints here in verse 21, where he asks them, have you not known? Have you not heard? How can this possibly be new information to you? He's basically saying, when you look all around and you see creation, how can you not know that there is a sovereign God that did all of this? It's just like the big reveal on HGTV. How in the world can you look all over creation and not know that there was a master designer who designed all of this with his very own hands? And he says, have you not known this from the foundation, the creation of the earth? Not only did God do all of this because he is sovereign, but he has power over everything. And that is one of the key points that this lesson is driving, is that God has power over everything. And I know that we think our governments are strong, but God is even bigger than our governments, because this lesson says that he even brings princes down. And he has the ultimate, he's the ultimate issuer of justice. So he even brings down legal power. He knows the exact numbers of the stars in the sky. In fact, he's numbered them all. And he knows all of the stars by their numbers. He's such a big God that he stands alone. He stands by himself. And he's the one who creates opportunity for others who are basically grasshoppers in his sight. Remember, even when the spies went to see the land that flowed with milk and honey, they saw themselves as grasshoppers. So looking really small. Well, we're all really small in the sight of God because he is so powerful. So again, Isaiah asked them, how did you not know this? And he says it is such an honor to serve such a great God. And there's repetition in the lesson. You should pay attention. He asked again, have you not known? Have you not heard? He's basically trying to say to them, have you forgotten who God is? Because even though you question him now, he's the same God that blessed you before, because he truly is a God of repeat performances. And if he was able to do it before, he can most certainly do it again. And what a blessing that is in our own lives to know that he is a God of repeat performances. So even when they were disobedient, even when they went their own ways, even when they would not heed the voice of his prophet, God continued to bless them over and over again. And he asked them, have you not heard? Which jumped out to me because we have to be so careful about who we listen to and where we get our information. He goes on to say, he talks about the character and the nature of God, that he, first of all, he lasts forever. He is everlasting. He's bigger than any situation in our lives. Things will come and things will go, but God is everlasting. He was here before we were, and he will be here after we are. He's everlasting. The second thing was he does not get tired. We do get tired in our own human frailty, but God does not tire. He also knows everything. And while his understanding is unsearchable, his identity is undeniable. I'll say that again. While his understanding is unsearchable, his identity is undeniable, because he is the one who creates and recreates and shapes the earth. And he is the one who allows us to be on the earth that he created. And not only that, but he gives to us. There are tremendous benefits to the sovereignty of God. First of all, he gives us power. And that's another point of the lesson, that we in our own do not have the strength that we need. We don't even have the strength or the power to wake ourselves up in the morning. Except for God touching us in the morning, your alarm clock can go off. And there are many people whose alarms went off and they did not get up. So our very existence depends on the fact that he empowers us to do what we do. And he gives us the strength to do what we do. And there are times that we don't feel strong. So the scripture lesson says that when we are weak, he gives us increased levels of strength. He builds strength in us. And then it goes on to say, familiar preaching text, but they that wait on the Lord, he shall renew their strength. And I know that's popular preaching text, especially during difficult times. But this was a promise of an end and renewed strength that likely seemed impossible to them at that time, because their current plight was so grim. They were in exile. And so to hear that all of these kinds of things were coming probably seemed impossible. But they that wait. And what he was saying is not to sit on your thumbs and wait, not to sit inactively or idly and just waiting on something to come, but to sit in an active state, waiting on the Lord. What does it mean to actively wait on the Lord? To look for him, to wait for him, to wait in anticipation of him, and to bind yourself to him, to stay close to him. And if you do that, he says he's going to renew your strength. They would mount up on wings, and there's a lot of poetic imagery here, as eagles. And we know eagles are very strong and majestic birds, and their wingspan is very large, and they will mount up on wings as eagles. They will run and not be weary. Again, talking to power, talking to strength, and they shall walk and not faint. He goes on to say that the youth and the young men, the people who should be strong for battle, even they will faint. And those are the ones that you would think should be strong. But they would faint because they attempted to fight and function in their own strength. They themselves were on the verge of failing because they tried to handle life on their own. But the lesson is telling us that if we wait on the Lord, if we depend on his strength, he'll renew it, and he will give to us the power that we need to be successful. Here are my quick learnings from the week. God is sovereign. There is nothing above him. There is nothing beneath him. He is the absolute greatest authority in our lives. He consults no one at any time about anything, and he does things according to his own will. Next, there are things that God will bring into our lives to put into perspective the fact that we don't have power on our own. We are stronger when we admit that we are weak and we acknowledge our total and complete dependence on him. And what you cannot figure out, this was my third, what you cannot figure out, God gives us the faith to walk it out. And he has promised that he will be with us because he calls us my people. We are his people. And so he walks with us as we build our faith and as we grow. We don't have to know everything. We're not going to know everything all the way. But he is calling for us to build a total reliance on him, to know that our strength and our power truly does come from him. This is the lesson for this week. I cannot wait to hear what you learned from the lesson. You always drop me nuggets and you inbox me messages, and I love hearing and seeing them. So I'll watch for them this weekend. Have an excellent time in your classes. Don't forget, I still love Sunday school selfies. I get tagged in some every week. I still love them. Hashtag Sunday school selfie. Don't forget again, subscribe if you didn't already hit the button. Share this lesson with someone. And I will see you in Sunday school. Bye-bye.